All right. Well, welcome to the Next Homie Focus Group. We meet here every other Tuesday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and we are so happy to have so many people here today. Our topic today is resurrecting stale listings. With very few exceptions around the country, things have slowed down a good bit, and we're getting back to territory that we haven't seen for a few years, and for folks that are newer to our business, haven't seen it all yet. So I don't know about y'all, but Pat and I have a whole slew of listings that are they're kind of sitting around a lot lot more than we're used to. So we've had to get kind of creative, so we're going to have a discussion today. We're all going to share some notes and help each other out to get these listings sold. I'll tell you a few things we've been doing. First of all, we've got a couple of condos that are in the lower end of the price range. And so we've got a pretty good social media reach. So I'm going to do a series of videos on affordable housing. And one of them is 55 plus, so do affordable housing for seniors and focus on those listings as an example of some affordable housing that almost anybody could afford, because there are affordable listings out there and you may have some of them. So we need to kind of reframe the discussion. And then at the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got a listing that's a very high-end listing in the most exclusive area of town. It's a historic house built in 1930. So we're going to do a historic home tours disguised as an open house and hopefully get some news media coverage on that. And in addition to that, as a separate event, we're going to handpick some photographers from around the area that have a good social media reach and hire some models to come in there and do some photo shoot in this historic property. Now, of course, you have to have the owner's permission to do all these kind of things, but
Which we did get.
which of course we
Yeah,
got.
he's a photographer too. He likes to
Yeah,
take
he's a
pictures.
photographer
Yeah,
himself. And
right.
and for those of you that don't know, before I switched to being a realtor and joined Pat in her business, I was a commercial photographer. So that's kind of something that kind of fits in with what we're doing. So I'd like to hear from some of y'all. What kind of out of the box things are you doing to kind of help move some of these stale listings? Nobody has any stale listings except for us. That's what I.
Wow,
Adrian's shaking her head. She's like, "Nope,
tell Trevor wants to say something. Come
nothing
on.
stale around here."
I'm not doing anything because they're all stale. So I'm hoping to learn something today that can get these things moving.
Well, tell us about what you have.
Yeah,
Yeah, tell us
what's
about the
what's
listings.
going stale around
Yeah.
there?
So we have, okay, so I've had it listed before, and the guy it's just overpriced. And he knows that one day it's like a big piece of land, 21 something acres. And I mean, it's like he knows one day the buyer's going to come along who wants to put a few, like maybe them and their kids' houses or whatever on it, and it probably will. But it just sits, and that's okay. I'm used to that one. But we have like a 3 bedroom, 3 bath house that looks small, and so it's all brick, but they're at 349, and I'm sure at like 329 it would be gone, but they need more than that, and so it's just sitting. I mean, it gets no activity, and it's really cute. But outside it's just a little brick house with a carport, but it's not. It's
Mhm.
2,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, three
Wow.
baths on a basement. But anyway, so that one, I just like, I've done everything but stand on the street corner and I don't know,
Yeah,
take my
well,
clothes off and point that way or
I'm
something.
not above doing that.
And then the other one is just a a totally remodeled 3 bedroom, 2.5 bath, all brick ranch. Like they've taken the front facade and put like a porch with um some cedar things, and they put cedar shutters on it. And I mean, it's really pretty, but I mean, I guess there's not anything like totally like gorgeous outside. Or I mean, I mean, it's winter, so there's like no
Hmm.
landscaping. There's no, and so I mean, it's a good house. It's not, I mean, it's like 15 within 15 minutes of th all three hospitals we have here. Um, so I've been trying to like use that maybe for nurses or doctors or whatever, because I think the school district isn't really a desirable one, but the location for like work is. So, and Doug did an open house. We had four sets of people come through, and nothing's come of that. And I mean, I have on my list today to put them on YouTube. I don't know how to do that. Or and also on what's the other one? TikTok. I don't know how to do that, but I guess I'm gonna have to learn because
Yeah, I have a
they're not moving on the
suggestion
others.
that we've had some success with is doing videos, especially on YouTube. This works where what you can get in our case, what you can get in St. Petersburg for $600,000, and just post the video that you would usually post, the walkthrough thing, and people seem to respond to that. And if have you been doing? And I'd like to hear from anybody else too. We've had to have some difficult conversations with some very antsy sellers because we've all gotten used to things being the way they were a year or two ago, including the sellers. Everybody's used to things happening quickly and people writing contracts on the hood of the car. So, uh, who's had to have that difficult conversation of settling down a seller who is real antsy and maybe they're starting to think maybe you're not doing your job. Has that happened to anybody yet?
I don't think it's happened with my folks just because they're repeat clients and we help their whole family. But it's like at 349, they're gonna like I think they're gonna have like 20 or 30,000 left over as cushion money, and I'm like, y'all, I mean, because they have another house under contract that they love and that they need that much space. I'm like, y'all,
Mm,
I mean, if we reduce it 10,000, I mean, you'll have 15 or 20,000 left over as, leftover money. And I know everybody wants that, but do you want to miss out on the house you have under contract because of waiting on 30,000 leftover money? So we've had that. And then I'm going to talk to him because this past weekend, Sunday, we showed a new couple, three houses in Burlington, North Carolina, kind of between High Point and Green and Chapel Hill, whatever, but
mhm,
Burlington. Um, and two of them had been on the market for 80 some days and 140 some days. And the other one had been on the market 2 days. And they liked the one that had been on the market 2 days. And honestly, it was probably a little lower priced, but we paid 5,000 over. So that's why I'm trying to talk to my sellers and say, if we reduce it to where it'll get traction, you still have a chance that you can get over asking. My people, I mean, Doug told him, like, I think I'm comfortable advising you to pay like up to 242 based on comps. And they were comfortable at 235, this little set of buyers. And so we got it. And I mean, so people are afraid to lower it, but at the same time, if you do that, you might get over asking like you used to and multiple offers because there were multiple offers. So, and the other two have been on the market for 80 and 140 some days because they're just overpriced or they started high and had to, drop over the last 5 months. And then it's like, what's wrong with the house?
yeah.
So one thing that you do is instead of talking price, you talk percentage. And that
Yes.
conversation goes a lot better.
Yeah. And like somebody, maybe they want $30,000 off, but that's really only 3% of the actual value of the house. So we try to reframe it in a way that it's what salesmen call breaking it down to the ridiculous. Well, $30,000 is a lot of money by anybody's standards, but 3% is not much of a discount.
And it
So,
really has been
so
going
some
very well.
sometimes
But
psychologically that
isn't 30% of 310?
Well,
Well, just
I'm
whatever the
just
percentage
just for an
is.
example.
Yes.
I'm not
Oh,
good at doing math in my head,
oh,
so
but like if I told them $10,000 and told them whatever percentage that
whatever
is
the
of their
percentage is.
Yes.
Now,
price,
if
like,
it's a big percentage
okay,
also, then well, maybe you might have to figure out a different angle of attack. But a lot of times, especially when we've got a gap, the gap is usually only uh, everybody's digging their heels in and like, hey, look, you want to lose this deal over 2 or 3% or whatever it is. We're only talking about a very small percentage. You want to start over again, and sometimes that will put it into perspective for people.
that's good.
And now I've got good.
Yeah.
Put in the chat how many people here came looking for some ideas on things to do to get. Just type yes or raise your hand. Well, we got pages. We've been
Yeah.
thinking about this.
Well,
Yeah, that
because
one
we've
thing
had
that I wanted
to.
to point
We've had
out,
to. Yeah,
yeah, one thing that I wanted to point out that worked for me in the past is that it's important that we keep on educating our buyers and our sellers, right? So one tool that I utilize is actually sending them weekly emails of market updates, what's happening in the market, in the group of, for example, at their price point,
that's
so
excellent,
that
Christina.
because that way, when you are having that conversation of lowering price, they already know what's happening in the market, that you don't have to convince them, because the market is changing daily, and they need to realize that. So it's like the conversation comes to, is like, are we going to be moving forward with you, because we want to sell the property just as much as they want to, but if we cannot come to a place where they understand that the price that they're asking for is not what the market is willing to offer, we have to walk away from it, as because it winds up being more work than anything else, if they are not agreeing to work with us. It's a meeting of the minds.
That's such great advice, Christina. Thanks for bringing that
You
up.
do that every Monday. Chuck does a
Monday
bomb bomb
Monday
update.
update.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a bomb bomb. I hope
it's a,
everyone's familiar with bomb bomb here.
it's a
And
video email. If you're not
video
familiar,
email.
Mhm.
let me know and I'll tell you about it later.
Yeah, it's really great. And so he does that every Monday morning. It's the Monday morning update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it works
But
out really
usually, like,
well.
I don't know, like, even in your CRM system, you should have like the opportunity to set up market updates that are specific to their market, to where
Yes.
their home is and the price point that they're looking at. That way they are not, is literally, this is what's on the market in your price point, so that they can compare apples to apples when they're looking at where the property sits at. And they have to realize, because for example, I had a situation where the price according to RPR was, oh yeah, I can get $500,000 for the property. It was like, yeah, but have you seen what's on the market for $500,000? It's
Yes.
like your property is not there. It's like we have to put a ton of money into that property to revitalize it. Then you might be able to get close to that number. And that's the part where they really need to see what's on the market at that price point, and if they compare. There's no convincing once you show them that. They convince themselves all by themselves. They know that the conversation is coming.
What a great way to get ahead of the problem. That is excellent. And the good news is like lazy agents won't do it. You
No,
know,
but
no, because us next home agents, we're used to going the extra step. That's just our culture. That's what we do. And I
Mhm.
think that's why we all do better than an average agent. But yeah, the lazy folks out there. I told one guy who, because we're always all about sharing. We'll tell anybody anything. And yeah, we do a new CMA every week. And they're like, "Oh, you're doing all that work every week?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, we're getting paid pretty good. It's worth it,
That's funny.
especially if when we
Yeah.
do that, we get paid sooner."
Yeah, exactly. And it makes that conversation when it comes to a price change a lot easier. And also, like, I don't know how many of you are having that conversation at the beginning. Like, okay, you realize that, let's say, for example, we all know that we present the price based on CMA, but the seller says, "Oh yeah, it's like you're telling me that I can sell at 450, but I really want to list at 475." I said, "We agreed to list at 475, but we are going to be revisiting this conversation in 4 weeks when we don't have traffic, when we don't have views because we are overpriced." So
Right.
like, let's agree now, right now, that that's what's going to be the next, course of action.
Absolutely.
Mhm. I'd rather be brutally honest, because you know what? If you go for the business just because of getting the listing or whatever, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because it's more headaches
Oh, I know
than
we've learned
anything
that the
else.
hard way a time or two over the years.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, all right, so let's throw out a couple ideas and let's discuss these. Anybody has any comments? Just chime right in because I really like this informal format that we use here in the focus group. One of them was hosting a themed open house. So, for example, we had a listing a while back. It was an 80s house. It had mauve carpets. It was like a time capsule to the 80s. Well, maybe having some kind of a 80s theme to the open house, kind of make it an event might be something that would actually attract people. We talked about open houses in here a couple of weeks ago, and uh, I'm still a believer in open houses. They're harder than they used to be, but you know, everything's harder than it used to be, I think. I mean, you name me one thing that's easier, I'll shake your hand. But has anybody in here ever done a themed open house? No? I guess, you know, we haven't had to in the last few years. Yeah, a lot of people are saying no in the comments, and well, maybe we might need to start thinking along those lines because we went to a really great kind of like little mini seminar in Orlando. James and Keith were there, crazy Uncle Keith and our leader, James. And they're predicting that this next year not going to be as hard as last year, but it's not going to be easy either. So we're going to have to think outside the
We're definitely
box.
going to have to be creative.
There's going to be a lot of agents dropping out, and for those of us that are creative and like we're doing here and sharing ideas and helping each other out, when we come out of this on the other side, we're going to have a massive market share because so many people, unfortunately, have dropped out during these hard times because we're going into our third year of it being a little tough. You know,
That's true.
I know a few people who had really great years last year, but generally speaking, it just my informal research talking to agents and brokers around the country is that everybody was down about 30% this last year, and that was the case with us too.
Hmm.
So another thing is partnering up with local businesses. And, we've always had in the past, partnering up with the title company or partnering up with your favorite lender. That those are two good things that are very effective. In fact, we have one lender that came up with a program because, hey, they're having the same problem we're having right now. And he'll give a buyer a 1% credit, 1% of the purchase or the loan value towards their closing costs. So he had signs made and flyers and stuff. So we're putting those up in front of the houses that you can get a 1% credit on it. And that's been a good way to partner up with a lender to, get some kind of program going that for a rate buy down or credit towards closing costs. This particular lender really thinks outside the box. And if you're in the state of Florida, you need to know this guy. I'll share it with anybody who's in the state of Florida. He doesn't work anywhere else.
Christine Eck also, when we went to the
Christine Eck
Orlando.
at Next Mortgage,
Yes,
and they serve pretty much every state. Next Mortgage has some very creative programs,
they sure do.
and they'll put together flyers or signage for you, things that can help. We we've got these they're clear plastic, like stand-up signage. They're 8.5 by 11 that we put in the houses. And we'll do little feature things, like, oh, here's what's great about the kitchen, because they may not know. And if somebody else is showing the house, they're not going to know because they don't read it. And put some of those in there where, hey, we got this really great lending program available for this. It Look, even though other people may have the same thing available, you're the only one talking about it, so it'll seem like it's exclusive to your listing. So don't
Got
be
a
afraid to. Yes,
question about that because the list and lock program that Next Mortgage has is fantastic.
it is.
Got sellers that would love to use it, but the problem is advertising and getting the message out there that
Hmm.
this is an option when nobody's even coming in the door at all. Like I can put it in the notes on MLS, but if nobody's even looking at the house, they don't know that it is an option. So any suggestions on from anybody on how to just advertise those type of
Let's talk
programs?
about what you're trying to sell, just one listing. And let's talk about and drill down a little bit.
Yeah, 'cause I've got some ideas.
Yeah, about what your listing is that you're getting nobody coming in and looking.
I've got several. I'll take one that is it's probably at an entry level price. It's 300,000. It's a ranch on some acreage. Um, it's almost completely redone from top to bottom. So in my opinion, it should have sold three times over by now, but we've been on the market since October, which I know is a tricky time to list, but it's now just sitting there. And I feel like a rate buy down or something like that would be very appealing to the buyer that's buying 300,000. But
How
can
do
you get
you
them in the
get it?
door?
How do you get it out there? Because nothing makes it pop up on people's radars except a reduction.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like, yeah, there's all these great
Excellent
things, but
point.
like, how do I get in front of them to say, hey, look at this? Because the only thing that brings it to the top of, MLS every time or whatever is a reduction.
So Trevor, I'm going to ask you some questions. Have you done professional photography?
Yes.
Have you done 3D, like Matterport?
We didn't do Matterport, but we have a walking video tour.
Okay.
Good.
3D.
Have you done a floor plan?
Absolutely.
Okay. Um, yeah, you said it's some acreage, so is it worth doing a drone?
We have some drone as part of our photography package.
Okay.
So I've got a couple ideas
Okay.
because I forget who said it, but she brought up a good point where, how do you get the word out there to the
Hmm.
general public?
That was Adrian.
Yeah, Adrian. And one thing that we've had a lot of success with is doing social media videos talking about talking about affordable housing, talking about lending programs that are available, talking about first time home buyer programs, educational videos. And if you've got good examples that fit into that just happen to be your listings, so much the better. But the more we found that it generates a lot of questions and people want to know and want to have resources. Maybe you get a client out of it, maybe you don't, but it does two things. It helps get the word out about your listing and what's available for it. But more importantly, it positions you as an authority on the subject and somebody that's really wanting to help people. Because look, everybody's on, just listed, and we got this listing, and we all do the same things. But maybe if you're just kind of helping people out with educating them about what's available and some options, maybe some out of the box things that you get together, talk with your favorite lender and brainstorm about it because you guys are partners with your favorite lender. That they can't survive without you and you can't survive without them. So maybe sit down and have a conversation and put that out there. And I know what some of you are thinking. I suck at videos. Well, so does everybody, so it doesn't matter. Everybody else sucks too.
You're not getting paid to do videos. You're getting paid to change somebody's life.
Yeah, and nobody's looking to us to be broadcasters.
No.
They they just need our help. And I got to tell you, and you back me up on this, Pat. If tell them if I'm right, because everybody's like, "Oh well, if I could talk like you, Chuck, I'd be really good at videos." The videos that I get the best traction on are the stupidest ones where I make the most mistakes and can't think of words, because I've gotten to the point where I don't bother editing because I just don't have time.
Plus,
And,
why edit?
and
Just,
I
it doesn't matter about the mistakes.
and listen,
Doesn't matter.
that's your ego holding you back.
That's true.
If you think, oh, it's got to be all
Your
slick
hair
and
doesn't have to be
well
perfect.
polished, man. I I did a really crappy video in our Volkswagen yesterday, and it's gotten amazing traction. And it was horrible. I couldn't think of the words. I'm sure that happens to y'all. I couldn't think of what I wanted to say. The sound wasn't that good. My hair was a mess. I was sweating because it doesn't have any air conditioning because it's an old Volkswagen.
It's 1974.
Oh, so
Yeah.
anyway, does that help at all, Trevor? I hope it does.
I think it's a great idea because it obviously we're trying to sell the most important to that seller is that house.
Yeah,
But when you're building a reputation for being the go-to, you're building longevity for yourself. It's more to us, it's more than just one house. Um, it's building, a business. So I
yeah.
do like that advice is just putting information out there, being the go-to for information.
Absolutely. And that gives you a bigger audience that you can steer towards your listings. And I mean, like I'm looking at you right now on the screen. You look good, you sound good. You can just sit right there in your chair and just do
Yeah.
what you're doing right now. And you got it down, brother.
Do you do videos?
I have in the past, I
That
not
mean that means
That
no.
means no.
correct, no, but I've been in talks with one of my colleagues, and it is a goal for us to get started on those.
Get on it, man.
Get on it
I
today.
it's
Do a
hard for me because
video
I
in that house for 300,000. And what's the one best feature about the house? If someone was to ask you,
best feature.
yes, is it the land or just what you could put on the land? Is it agricultural as well as, residential?
I think it's just the newness. It's got new floors, new carpet, new paint, new fixtures, like
Okay.
everything. It's a built in the 90s, but it's fresh.
So let
So,
me ask you another question. How's the school district there?
meh.
Okay. So go on greatschools.org or niche.com, I think it is, and you'll be able to get the actual school number on it, and that might help you.
I utilize that, and it's like by meh, I mean like it's average. It's not.
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
it like a C?
It's
It'll
it's
go like A, B, C, D,
it's
E, F.
probably it uses numbers, and I don't know what they are right now.
Numbers.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, like 3 out of 10 or something.
Yeah.
They do that too. Okay.
All right. So here's
I'll say
here's your
my challenge
concept.
with video is I hate looking at video online, so that means I hate doing it. But I know the majority of everybody else in the world likes video, so I've got to just overcome that.
Oh, I am so with you. I do not like videos, but you know what? It doesn't matter what we like.
The
So
other thing is also
go
in
ahead.
video, which I just heard, do not introduce yourself.
They already know who you are.
They know who you are. Go right into what you have. I have this fabulous 3 bedroom, 2 bath ranch home that is completely turnkey. Something like that. More
All right.
catchy.
So here's my idea for you, and then we'll move on. Okay, so here's the video that you're going to do this afternoon.
Trevor,
Go like,
snap.
hey, I'm
It's an
out
hour
here.
drive away, but maybe tomorrow.
Well, you could show pictures. You're like, hey, I got this awesome property. I'm going to show you the 3 coolest things about it. Here's the first thing. Check this out, man. This is awesome. And oh, here's the other thing that's cool about it. Look at this. Just do the 3 awesome things, leave it at that, and let them call you. You don't have to do a, 10-minute going over every detail.
Quick, quick,
They
quick.
can read about that. Just fast,
Challenge
fast, fast.
accepted. Maybe
Three,
not today, but this week.
Oh,
I'm going to follow up with you.
we're to harass you.
All right.
No, because we want you to sell it. We want you to be successful at selling it.
All right, here's another one. Anybody have any comments on that, by the way? I don't want to do all the talking. Oh, I think Sarah mentioned School Digger.
I haven't heard of that one.
Haven't heard of that. School, SCHOOLDIGGE. Excuse me, R.
Okay.
School
Hey,
Digger.
Chuck, I had a comment for Trevor.
Yes, Wendy.
Have you asked any of the other agents in your office to send it out to their sphere?
I think they did at the very beginning when we first listed.
So maybe is it like possibly time to do that again? And I think I found the property on your Instagram page is it's not staged correctly. Correct? It's not staged, correct?
It is not Sage. It is vacant. And I will say we
Okay.
use for professional photography, but I don't think the pictures are the standard that they usually do for me.
Okay.
Box Brownie.
Did you use Box Brownie to virtually stage it?
I have not.
That might be worthwhile.
That's definitely worth
That's
doing.
pretty cheap.
Yeah.
There's also a virtual staging program. I can't remember the name of it. I could share it with you guys, but it's much
Oh,
cheap.
I hope
It's
you
much
think
cheaper
of
than
it.
Box Brownie, and
Yeah.
it's like virtual.
It's going to come to you like 2 seconds
Mhm.
after you log off.
I mean, if I could get off this, if I wanted to get off this screen, I could go look. But anyway, it's you do it yourself. I mean, but you have tons of options, and
Ooh, I like that.
Sadie Jones does it. You know, is our girl, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so great!" And I'll just tell her, I'll be like, "Can you stage this home since it's vacant?" And and I mean, if you look at my listing on Waverly Street on our Facebook page, you'll see it. And there's some rooms that are staged, and it looks really, really good. And it's like, I mean, I think I paid for a year, and it's like, I don't know, $39 for a year or something.
Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up, Adrian, because we've got one listing in particular where it's 2 bedroom, 2 bath, and everybody wishes it was a 3 bedroom. So we've got the floor plan, the Cubicasa, which I think if you're in Next Home and you don't know about Cubicasa, you probably haven't been visiting the page or listening to anybody. If you don't know about it, put it in the comments and I'll tell you all about it. But it generates a floor plan in like 5 minutes of your time. But anyway, I'm telling you that so I can tell you this, that you can take that floor plan and either you or get somebody that knows how to alter the floor plans. Like, okay, here's how you would change this into a 3 bedroom, 3 bath, or whatever the objection is. We've got one listing that it's a 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath, and oh, everybody loves the house, but they hate that it's only got one full bath. So we're working on altering the floor plans. Like, okay, here's what it would look like if you added that, and we'll get a quote from a general contractor, and just try to get ahead of those objections. So we didn't used to have to do any of that. Virtual staging AI app. Thank you. That is
Yes, and
awesome.
it when you go to it, like you get some free, like you can do a certain amount for free or whatever, but you can choose like home office, coastal, farmhouse, outdoor, and then like from there you can, they'll give you, images to use. But I found where I told Sadie about it, and she wrote and said, this virtual staging thing is awesome. I want to use it for my house to get ideas. That
Yeah,
was
and it's
back in
fun.
September of last year. And I mean, it's not because I'm not one of those that'll pay, like a lot of, like to me, Box Brownie's expensive. They do amazing work. Trust me. Wendy had a house sale because they were able to remove all the crap and the fence out of the front yard
Yeah.
and just make it look like it was just grass. And that got people to come, even though when they got there, there was a fence and there was crap. I mean, the fence can come down and the crap's going to be gone when the people move, and it sold because of Box Brownie's images. So they definitely have their purpose, but to me, they're just expensive. And this is just, I mean, it's as fast as Cubicasa. I mean, you just like pull up, add the furniture in and hit share or
I
save.
think we all should
I
be
like that.
doing the
I like doing
virtual
it myself.
staging. I just took a buyer out this week and we went to, it was a condo and it was empty. And she just kept saying, I don't think my king bed size bed is going to fit in the master primary bedroom. And anyway, the agent just happened to call me and she didn't know anything about virtual staging. So we talked for a long time and she's going to virtually stage it because I said, because my buyer couldn't envision a king bed in there. It
Mhm.
needed staged. I think every vacant home should be staged because people have no
At least
imagination.
virtually.
Yes, virtually. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. At least virtually, because then at least they can get a vision, even if it's not their furniture, of what it could look like.
I mean, the reality is we're all just going to have to work a little bit harder now,
Hmm.
which is fine. And I got to tell you, it's shocking to me how well educated we are as next homies compared to other agents out there. Okay, if you're not following along, oh, that doesn't have anything to do with us, Pat.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right.
But do follow along in the chat because people are typing in some resources in there. And so that's really good. This doesn't work for every. Oh, look at that cutie.
Aw,
Who's that dog? We're totally off track now, everybody.
never mind.
Yeah, never mind. There's a dog in the picture. This won't work for every property, but if you've got a property that is in an, a really interesting neighborhood, maybe it's some historic houses or there's some history to the town or something, maybe do a little walking tour that ends up at your listing or starts at your listing. That's something that you may want to consider. Just kind of thinking outside the box.
Like the historic
And
home that we have.
we're
We're
going to
gonna,
do a little walking tour because
yeah,
there's a lot of history around there.
yes, and it's close to downtown.
Yeah. And all right, so y'all, is it okay if we take a little sidebar here for a second? Y'all cool with that? All right, so we're talking about floor plans, and Pat brought up how her buyer was having a hard time visualizing. Doing a floor plan saved a deal for one of our buyers. We've shown them a bunch of houses. They absolutely fell in love with this house, but they didn't know where the dining table was going to go, and they couldn't figure it out, and they were ready to just write this one off. So I spent 5 minutes, did the little scan, sent the floor plan to them so that they could take a pencil and kind of collaborate with each other, and they bought the house. So that little 5 minutes making a floor plan was saved us showing a umpteen more houses to these people just because they were having a difficult time figuring out where grandma's dining table was going to go. So, okay, so that's a little sidebar. All right, I'm kind of cherry picking off of our list. If any of y'all want our list, we'll email it to you. And if you're not on my email list, put your name and email in the chat and I'll add you so that you'll get links to the little next homey things and I can send you stuff like this. So anyway, you got any favorites on here, Pat? I got a few. Here's a few that you're already doing, but you may not even realize it. Part of our whole thing with Next Home is we've got a single property website for our properties. Why not get the URL, the domain name, 123mainstreet.com and, start promoting that. And that'll help with your internet searches. It really does help. Every little thing that we do helps. Let's see.
Do you register those for a year and just like let them go? Like just don't
Yeah.
renew them?
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, we use GoDaddy for it. I mean, there's a million different registers out there, but yeah, I think it's $10 and just forward it to the actual site and then, you know, if we still have that listing a year from now, something's wrong. Something's horribly wrong.
So Trevor, you were mentioning that you weren't too happy with the photos. Would you mind texting me the listing or just giving me the address and I'll look it up myself and Since Chuck was a professional photographer for 30 years, we might have some pointers for you.
Sure, I'll put a link in.
Okay.
I just think I use this photographer all the time, and just I guess the day he was having an
Just
off day, I don't know.
just had an off. Yeah, hey, that happens to everybody,
Sure.
But yeah, send us the link and we'll evaluate it. Maybe there's an easy fix.
Oh, Sarah has a question.
Sarah's got a good question. Do you feel the Matterport tours are helpful, or could they be a hindrance? I like them, but I just removed them, blah, blah, blah. All right, here's my opinion and my observation. I think they are helpful, but I don't think they're nearly as helpful as Matterport says they are. When I look at the numbers, a lot of people don't bother looking at them at all. But that said, I think that our seller clients expect them. And we take a look around here in our market, most agents don't do them. And why don't they do them? Anybody want to take a guess? Because they're not free. Yeah, exactly.
Kasbula.
So we do them on every single listing, and just because other people don't do them, and it makes it look like we're doing more work.
Which we are doing more work.
The fee is nominal.
Right.
Now, there is a good suitable alternative that I've been experimenting with, and I'd encourage you to look into this. On Cubicasa, they've got a thing where it'll have the floor plan, and then you can click, and it'll show you that view of the room. And it'll figure it all out. You upload all your property photos, and it'll figure out where these little dots are supposed to go. And you can edit them and modify it, of course, on your own. But it does a really good job for, it's just a few bucks, I think. And that gives you a good, suitable alternative to a Matterport that, saves you the cost of a Matterport. And I'm still experimenting with it. I don't have any data to support this, but I think it's just as effective. I really do.
So Trevor put the listing in there.
Oh, good.
1041 Kent Street. Is that correct?
Yeah, I put the listing in the chat. So if any of you want to take a look at it and help a brother out, then you take a look at that and let Trevor know what you think about it. Because
I think the exterior photos are the ones that I was more concerned with rather than the interior. And they're actually showing up better on the website than they do like on the MLS. On the MLS, they just look brown.
Mm. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Matter of fact, do y'all want to see them?
Yeah, share it if you can.
You want to?
Is that okay,
All
Trevor?
right. Is it okay with you?
And share it with all your sphere too.
I'll share it on my screen. Hang on.
Well, no, because then we can help each other out with it.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good idea.
I was a commercial photographer for 30 years. All I have to do is find the thing to share my screen.
Is it up top?
I'm usually so good at this.
You might be covering.
Probably covered up with one of these things. All right. Hang tight while I learn how to use Zoom.
You could go to more on the right. See what it says. Nope.
I do this all the time. Why can't I do it now?
I think it's top and I think it's covered. You can close the chat.
On mine, it's
Yeah.
in the middle at the bottom, and it says share. So I have like
Oh,
There it is.
There it
I
is.
just found it.
yeah.
screen. We
Yeah.
didn't.
We just found it.
All right. So I'm going to share my entire screen and then switch over to this. Okay. So
Can y'all see it?
yeah, I mean, the only comment I would have on this is, yeah, the photo's a little flat, but not big deal. And let me move some stuff out of the way here so y'all can see. Can y'all see that? Just stick your hand up if you can. Okay, good.
So they look a little dark, but that might just be the screen.
Yeah, it might just be the screen, but you might want to ask your photographer, and they won't be offended, believe me, because photographers always want to do a great job. If they could increase the contrast on this, I think that would help it. It's coming off kind of flat on my monitor,
It is.
and mine is calibrated to show it accurately.
Go back up. I want to see the acreage. Okay.
Oh, acreage.
1161 square feet. Okay.
Yeah. This room photo. Hey, there's nothing else you can do with it. They did a good job of showing what's outside.
No,
Yes,
but
there is something he can do with it. He can virtually stage that.
virtually
That was
stage it.
that was
Yeah.
Absolutely.
like
So do you have
Trevor.
more than 3 pictures?
Oh, view gallery.
Oh, here it is.
Yes, if you click on the
Okay.
gallery.
Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah.
that.
So the back porch is nice.
Yeah, this needs virtual
It
staging
needs virtual staging without a doubt.
because the photos aren't bad.
No.
They're nicely done. They fixed the perspective on everything.
Mhm.
They, maybe increasing the contrast might help just a little bit. But you're right. Your photographer's a real professional, and I can tell because they corrected the perspective. They got the windows so they're showing like it would look to our eyes because those always look blown out on the camera. Yeah, man. That's
Yeah,
my
the
that's
this
my advice.
yeah, they're showing very well.
Virtual staging, I think, would be your best bet.
Mhm.
Um,
Okay.
Anybody else have any opinions on that? All right, I'm going to stop sharing here and we'll go back to discussing.
Thank you.
Hey,
Yeah, I hope that helps. And I never mean anything as criticism, just, only in a helpful way.
Go back to
hey, will
the
y'all go to 1609 Sanford Drive in Winston-Salem? Because I have a lot of virtual staging in that one, and it looks very similar to that house of Trevor's.
Yeah, you have a link you could post?
Oh, Sanford Drive?
Sanford Drive. Yeah, I didn't know if y'all could just pull it up and I mean, I can find a link, but y'all
Yeah,
have.
let's do that if you can.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah,
then we'll just and
yeah, I
then
don't
we'll,
want everybody to have to sit while I'm trying to find it.
yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it
Now, as
because
far
Trevor
as
wanted to.
all right, while you're getting that, I want to throw out a couple other ideas. Getting real flexible with showings. That's properties that are hard to show or hard to sell. That's just the bottom line. And it's difficult or people are living there, especially if they have pets. So what we do is block out entire afternoons or try and have all of our showings on Saturday and Sunday and try to condense it all down into a block of time and have a few of those scattered around during the week. That way people don't have to keep coming and going for individual showings and put it in the realtor remarks, the private remarks that's what you're trying to do. And other agents will understand that.
Okay, there's
All right. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick and share my screen again.
I mean, don't shoot me because it's the Zillow link. It's just the easiest one.
Oh, we don't care.
we don't care.
No, we're all friends here.
Yep.
Okay, that's great. You got a nice drone photo to.
And so, too, I begged this guy to put shutters on this house, and he would not do it. And I'm like, if you would put shutters on this house, oh my gosh! So you can click on see all 42 photos, and the first few have some staging. Can you do that,
Yeah.
Chuck?
Yeah, it's just my computer's a little
I think they're
pokey.
frozen. Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, there it goes. It was just being a little bit.
So I would have
There you
removed the garbage cans.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Did you
just
hear what I
me.
said about the shutters?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, those are superimposed. Sadie put those shutters on there. They're not on the
Looks
house.
great.
I told Sadie, I said, please put some shutters on this house.
Oh, you're right, because we're
Yes.
looking at it without now.
See? It's
Totally
terrible.
different.
But yeah, you'll see some staged.
Oh,
There-
all right, y'all. Look at that before and after. Before, oh, where does the couch go? After, oh, I can picture myself sitting there watching the game.
Oh, that's really pretty.
Nice.
Beautiful.
and that,
I'm glad you got the before and after stage things because that really helps us all see the stark difference
It's a very stark
between
difference.
the two. And
Mhm.
of course, you just have to disclose that it's virtually staged, and
Mhm.
and then everybody understands. Yeah. It's great. It helps people visualize better.
Yeah, it's really
It
nice.
really is.
And that was from virtual staging AI dot app, correct? Adrian,
Yeah,
that
what
used?
I
Okay,
think that's
that's
it's
the
a
link.
weird thing. Yeah, it's not like .com, but it's a
Yes,
weird that
sure.
Yeah.
address.
Now, here's another one, and you probably all know this. I know all of you, just about all of you personally, but just remember when you're writing the descriptions, when you're recording your video, everything that has to do with the property, talk about the lifestyle. Don't talk about the features and the square feet and that people can read about all that. Talk about how great it would be to sit there in the morning and drink your coffee and how the sun's coming up through that window and or the beautiful view that you've got off the back deck or how awesome it's going to be to have the neighbors over and drink some wine on that beautiful front porch and watch people walk their dogs going by. Things of that nature mean more emotionally because to us it's not emotional at all because we're in this business and it's so easy to forget that emotions are what sells houses. So, and I know all of you are very experienced and I'm probably just repeating something that you already know, but it bears repeating
That's a
to
good reminder.
always focus on the lifestyle rather than the features. Because look, nobody cares how many square feet it is, really. They,
Like for your listing, Trevor, that you have, name the three best things about the house. So I don't know what the best things are, but
but you can figure something out.
proximity to whatever, a brewery. Yeah. Whatever it may be, but that's a really good feature. If that is a feature for the house. I don't know if it is, but
All right, so let me throw out a couple more. Uh, do a little webinar or host a workshop on how to purchase particular kinds of houses. Like I'll give you an example. We've got a few listings on properties that were damaged by the hurricane, and we've got a lot of houses that were destroyed and can't be rebuilt.
by the
So,
hurricanes we had
so we did
here.
a little
Yep.
webinar about like, okay, well, how would you go about buying one of these, and what's involved, and what are some things you should be aware of? Do some education. What are some what like in Trevor's case, hey, if you're looking at buying a property that's kind of out in the country and got a lot of land, here's some things you might want to know in advance because it's different than buying in town. Like I know, like around here, if it's outside of the city, it's going to be septic tank systems, so you got some considerations there, or maybe there's some agricultural areas nearby that you need to know about that the horses might smell bad. Just do some education about it and educate about things that are beneficial to you selling those properties. Does that make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Oh my God, we got so many here, Pat. We're running out of time.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe the time already.
Um, I think that the pitch meetings are going to make a comeback. Have y'all ever had one of those? This kind of going back quite a ways. Last time I was at one, but local real estate association will host a weekly pitch meeting where you go in there and they'll put the slides up of your property and you stand up and tell everybody how great it is and why they ought to show it to people. I think those are going to make a comeback. And if they're not and they're needed in your area, maybe you need to be the one that leads it.
Does anyone here do broker opens, like for not just your brokerage, but like a broker open for everybody? I don't know if you all do that by you, because we do that here.
I'm too young to know about those.
You're so funny.
An idea we had here that I couldn't do because it was in the middle of winter, but was we have Pillar to Post in our area is considered one of our top home inspector companies. And I had contacted them about doing a like test home inspection on one of my listings, and they do it as a CE class. So my house was the host my listing was the
Yes.
host site, and they would do, demonstrate a home inspection. And what they do, especially with like their this, where they scan the walls for water and all that kind of stuff. And I had to cancel it because I was trying to schedule this right before Christmas, and it was poor planning on my part. But that would be an idea too, you're getting agents in the door of the house.
Yeah.
I love that.
And
Yeah,
they do
that's
all
a
the
great
work.
idea,
I
Wendy.
just called them and set a date and got the permission of the seller, and then they were going to handle everything else.
Yeah, Sarah was mentioning that a local title company is hosting pitch meetings again. Yeah, I think those are going to make a comeback, and they're worth going to because it's a great way not only to expose your property to, because only the top producers go to these things. All the lazy agents, they don't bother going to them because they're lazy and they're not selling anything anyway. But all the people that are doing some business, those are the ones that show up, and those are the people you need to know anyway and network with.
And also, Sarah said that she's done broker opens and the success depends on the property's location. That is so true.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yes, that is so true.
But we're all going to have to work a little harder. And the good news is we already work harder than average agents as next homies. We're already way ahead of everybody else. So it's not that hard to open the gap even more by just, putting in a few little extra things and thinking outside the box and just really, really doing a great job for the people that thought enough of us to hire us to sell their most important asset.
So Wendy, I know you put your email in there, correct? Let's
Yeah,
see,
it's
you'll
in
have to
there
go up.
somewhere. It's in there somewhere.
Okay,
We'll get it.
yeah, we don't want to lose it.
Nope, we're not going to lose it.
There it is.
All right. Well, I can't believe we're almost out of time already. Anybody have any parting comments before we close it up for the day? Oh,
A new message.
one new one. Let me read it. Oh, it's just an email address.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming, everybody. Let's keep this conversation going in the Next Homie Focus Group Facebook group. If you're not a member of the Focus Group Facebook group, boy, that's a tongue twister. Make sure you get on there and we will approve you. Let's keep this conversation going and keep helping each other out because this is so important for all of us. We all want to do a great job for our clients. And when we do a great job for our clients, we're more prosperous. So thanks for coming. I hope y'all enjoyed it today. We will see you in 2 weeks right here.
Maybe.
Oh, the conference is coming up.
Hold on.
Well, we might see you in 2 weeks,
We
or we're going to
might.
see you at the conference.